take a look at this for a moment. If you're having a bad day or feeling sad, don't worry. Because why stay sad when you can check out a 30-year-old mommy with a killer rack? And the manga is called, Is a Mother in Her 30s Like Me Alright? The story begins with Shai Hinano, a 32-year-old woman, cooking with a much younger boy by her side. The boy, Yoshio, informs her that he has finished swapping out the light bulb. Shai thanks him, explaining that she couldn't reach it herself. She was saved by the fact her neighbor was such a dependable young man. He said that he was glad to be of help because he liked her. Shai freezes momentarily, but then smiles, saying she likes him too. Yoshio clarifies that he doesn't just like her, he loves her and wants to marry her. Shai, surprised, tells him he shouldn't tease an older woman like her, but Yoshio insists he's dead serious. Shai finds the situation strange, given her age, past marriage, and the fact that she has a daughter. She asks why he likes her. Yoshio explains that when he started his solitary life as a college student, Shai welcomed him warmly and provided him with home-cooked meals. When he fell ill and felt like he was dying, she was there to care for him. These memories made him emotional, and he confessed his love again. He adds, somewhat embarrassingly, that he particularly loves her because of her large breasts. Well, that was expected. Shai, taken aback by his bluntness, notices him staring at her chest. She tells him firmly not to expect any pervy shenanigans, even if he is a sweet and well-intentioned lad. Yoshio, like a deer caught in headlights, acknowledges her boundary and decides to make a leave for the day. As Yoshio turns to go, Shai stops him, clarifying that she doesn't dislike him, she just isn't young anymore and lacks confidence. She doesn't want to disappoint him. Seeing his crestfallen face, she has a sudden impulse to let him touch her breasts, because why not add some awkward spice to this already bizarre situation? Yoshio perks up and pokes her breasts with a look of awe, as if he's discovered buried treasure. Bro sure is lucky.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
Shai goes to panic mode and hit his hand, telling him that's enough. Disappointed, Yoshio tries to touch her more, but Shai insists that such things should wait until after marriage. Yoshio interprets this as a sign that Shai might consider marrying him. She explains that he is still a college student and should focus on graduating, so he won't be a burden. Bruh, if it was my parents, they would kick me out. In the next chapter, Yoshio is greeted by Shirashi Karen, Shiri's 12-year-old daughter. With a mischievous glint in her eye, Karen asks if he would like to play her new game together in a flirty way. Yoshio blushes like a beetroot, looking every bit the embarrassed pervert who probably needs a one-way ticket to jail. Seriously, someone get this guy a cold shower before Yoshio can utter a word. Shiri intervenes, reminding Karen that she promised Yoshio would help her with her studies. Yoshio, seizing the opportunity to divert the situation, suggests they play after studying. Karen, though slightly disappointed, agrees. They settle at the kitchen table and begin studying. As they work, Karen suddenly asks if Yoshio has someone he likes. Oh boy. Here comes the curveball. Both Yoshio and Shiri freeze, caught off guard by the unexpected question. Yoshio, determined not to lie, admits that there is someone his heart is set on. Karen, ever curious, inquires about what this person is like and if she's from university. Yoshio explains that he is completely alone at university and that the person he likes is, in fact, her mommy, and cue the collective gasp. Karen is too stunned to speak, her eyes wide in shock. Shiri tried to intervene, but Karen pressed on, asking if what Yoshio said was true. As Shiri objected, Yoshio went further, stating that he had also proposed to her. Karen was shocked, but then asked what he liked about her mother. Yoshio, with a serious expression, replied that Shiri's cooking was delicious, and that she was a thoughtful and considerate person. He said that whenever they were together, he felt comfortable and at ease. He continued, explaining that although she was a mature woman, her laughter made her seem like a young girl, which he found lovely and heartwarming. However, he added with a blush, the main reason he wanted to marry her was because of her breasts. Talk about laying it all on the table. Karen, still processing everything, turned to her mother and asked if she was going to marry Yoshio. Shiri, caught off guard, struggled to find the right words. She then asked Karen how she would feel about suddenly having a new dad, acknowledging that it would be difficult. Karen agreed, understanding the complexity of the situation. Shiri explained that marriage wasn't just her decision to make, it involved both of them, and she couldn't give Yoshio an answer so easily. Karen, persistent, asked if Shiri would consider marrying him if she, Karen, was okay with it. Yoshio, trying to figure things out, stated that he also loved Karen. He confidently declared that he could love both of them equally. Talk about throwing a curveball, both Shiri and Karen were shocked and told him it was a little early to be making such declarations. However, Yoshio looked at Shiri with hopeful eyes. Shiri, feeling nervous under his gaze, eventually stated that it was impossible for now. Yoshio was devastated. Karen agreed and said that he was a bit unreliable to become a father. Ouch, that's gotta sting seeing him on the ground with no hope. Karen told him to cheer up, reminding him that her mother said for now, which meant he might just get a chance in the future. But Yoshio didn't seem to be relieved. Karen, recalling that Yoshio's main reason for wanting to marry her mother was her breasts, suggested letting him touch her breasts instead. Wait, what? Did she really just say that both Yoshio and Shiri were shocked? Yoshio remembered the flirty rubbing experience they had earlier, and as he was about to celebrate her offer, Shiri intervened. Shiri immediately stopped them and told Karen that she couldn't let a boy touch her like that so easily. Yoshio, putting his morals and laws aside, insisted that Shiri not come between him and Karen. This led Shiri to get furious and scold them both for being idiots. Seriously, has everyone in this room lost their minds? Yoshio was still insisting on touching an elementary student's breasts, with the excuse of healing his heart because Hanano dumbed him. Seriously, bro needs to touch some grass. Shiri, trying to calm the situation, stated that she hadn't fully dumped Yoshio and still thought he was a good kid. She added that he was decent, and once Karen became an adult, they could discuss things further. Yoshio, not being the sharpest tool in the shed, asked her to explain a little more. Shiri clarified that she wanted him to go to university properly. However, Yoshio stated that he didn't want this. Someone needs to give this guy a reality check. Karen and Yoshio seemed tired. Hanano Shiri, a single mother with a 12-year-old daughter, had a secret she was embarrassed about. She was an adult manga artist. It was an embarrassing job, but she did it for the sake of raising her daughter and was proud of that. Who knew that paying the bills could be so blush-worthy still? If her secret ever got out, she would be mortified. While Yoshio was playing with Karen, Shiri had a chance to complete her manuscript. Today was her deadline. She worked for hours but eventually fell asleep like the others. When she woke up, she panicked, looking for her manuscript, and found it in Yoshio's hands. Oh no, this can't be good. Yoshio started teasing her about the story, which was about a college student and a single mother's neighbor essentially. Buddy Hanano woke up sweating from this dream. She looked at the clock and remembered that she had sent the manuscript and then fell asleep. Realizing she needed to make dinner for Karen, she got up. Just then, Yoshio arrived and stated that he had bought some sushi for her. Karen was taking a bath, and Yoshio mentioned that he also got some hot eye masks and compress pads that seemed good for stiff shoulders. Who knew he could be so thoughtful? She thanked him as they sat next to each other. Yoshio then asked if being a manga artist was hard. Hanano was shocked. Yoshio quickly remembered that this was supposed to be a secret and explained that Karen had told him her mother draws chai manga. Hanano was so embarrassed she turned her back to him, but he grabbed her wrist and told her there was nothing to be embarrassed about because she was doing this job to raise Karen. Hearing these words, Hanano was relieved and let her guard down a little. Feeling a bit dizzy, she leaned on Yoshio, and they ended up being a little too close. Cue the awkward romantic tension. Before anything could happen, Karen came out of the bathroom and asked if Yoshio was staying over that day. She only had a towel wrapped around her, so Hanano quickly told her that Yoshio was there, which wasn't a good look. Things got worse when Karen's towel slipped, revealing her body. Talk about bad timing. Yoshio, trying to keep his cool, said that while he wasn't lying about his feelings and wanted to marry Shiri, now that he had seen Karen's nakedness, he had to take responsibility and marry Karen as well. Wait, what? That escalated way too quickly. In the next chapter, Hanano prepares dinner for everyone, and they eat together with Yoshio. After finishing the food, he complimented her, saying how delicious her rice was. Got to give compliments. As they started drinking tea, Yoshio talked about how he wanted to eat this every day for every meal and live together with her. He also mentioned that he considered them a couple because they ate together almost every day. Hanano laughed and said that was a bit of an exaggeration. Yoshio replied that if they weren't a married couple, then he was just coming over to eat. He then asked her what she thought was essential for a married life. Hanano said there had to be mutual help. Yoshio pondered what he could do. He admitted he couldn't cook or clean since her house was always spotless, and he didn't know much about manual labor. The only thing he could think of was hugging Hanano. Creative problem solving or a convenient excuse. Hanano wasn't sure if this could be considered mutual help. Yoshio insisted that hugging someone could reduce stress and suggested they try it once. A hug a day keeps the stress away, she refused, saying that there was already a line he shouldn't cross. Hanano made it clear that she wasn't so easy to cheer up with just a hug. Nice try, buddy, but not happening. Yoshio seemed shocked and asked if she was going to divorce him even though they weren't married yet. Jumping the gun there, aren't we? He said that just because they would be married didn't mean she liked having skinship, so he promised not to say such things in the future. Hanano corrected him, saying that she didn't mind skinship but it wasn't appropriate right now, and asked if he didn't like the flirting part. Yoshio, confused, asked what she meant by that. She explained that they could hug just for a few seconds and opened her arms, telling him to come.
Nice.
Yoshio trembled as he got closer and hugged her for a few seconds. When he pulled back, Hanano asked if it was over already. A little disappointed there. She realized what kind of face she was making and quickly explained that nothing happened, also banning hugs from now on. Bad luck, my man. But bro felt haven at least once. And here I am single as f. Yoshio blamed himself for being useless, but Hanano reassured him that he was really useful. She reminded him that he always kept Karen company, which was a hard job because she was full of energy. Yoshio seemed revitalized and decided that instead of joining society, he was going to aim to be her house husband. Dream big, Yoshio. In the next scene, Karen was talking about how Yoshio proposed to her mother and then got dumped. She said that if he could become a dependable man, her mom might reconsider. So, with that goal in mind, Karen decided to make him someone worth relying on. Operation Make Yoshio Dependable is a go. Yoshio was thrilled that Karen was going to support his relationship with Hanano, but was confused about how to become a man she could rely on. She told him to take his shirt off and he complied. Hanano seemed curious as well, peeking in on the spectacle. The more, the merrier. In this awkward moment, Yoshio expressed that he would rather not work out. Karen asked her mother if she would prefer him to be a macho man, and Hanano responded that there was something about a man's muscles that was just irresistible. Looks like muscles are a big deal. Karen then told Yoshio to start muscle training immediately. Yoshio protested, saying that strength training was all about pushing the body to the limit and wasn't just physical strength, but also mental toughness, which he didn't have, and a bit of a defeatist attitude. Karen said that was a pathetic excuse and with great force told him to get with the program. Yoshio asked if there was anything easier, and Karen suggested a princess carry as a start. Easy enough, right? Karen insisted that a man should be able to lift girls with ease, and she was sure her mother would love a man who could carry her like they do in weddings. The idea seemed appealing to Hanano. Looks like Yoshio's getting a crash course in romance, and strength. Karen told him to give it a try. Yoshio easily carried Karen, and then Karen, pushing Hanano forward, told Yoshio to try lifting her mother. Yoshio was confident he could lift her easily, but when he tried, he found Hanano too heavy. He apologized, saying he couldn't lift her. Well, that's a mood crusher. Hanano's hopes for a wedding dream were dashed as she apologized for being so heavy. Karen scolded Yoshio for not using this opportunity to prove he could be dependable. Yoshio apologized to Hanano and speculated that her job as a manga artist required a lot of brainpower, making her crave sweets and leaving no time for exercise. Ouch, Yoshio. That's like a verbal gut punch. He even mentioned that it might just be her breasts that were heavy. Really, Yoshio? Calling those majestic, soft beauties heavy? Karen stopped his nonsense and asked if he was going to train his body to lift her mother. Yoshio decided to show his guts for Hanano and positioned himself to do push-ups. However, he couldn't even manage one. Well, that's a disappointing display of strength. He said he had given it his all twice and now was going to call it a day. He claimed he'd never be able to continue strength training. Karen, understanding the situation, said she couldn't turn him into a man her mother could rely on, so they should start over. Back to the drawing board, folks. Karen asked Yoshio if he would sleep over tonight. Before he could answer, Hanano jumped in, firmly refusing. Not in my house, buddy. Hanano explained that she had never allowed sleepovers and had never let him stay over before. She told her daughter that some things had boundaries and that kind of indecency was not allowed. Yep, she's drawing the line here. Karen, puzzled, mentioned that she just wanted to stay up and play around, which she argued was bad for her body. Because staying up is totally ruining her health, sure. Karen threw a tantrum about Yoshio, but Hanano stood her ground. Yoshio tried to intervene, but Hanano told him to be quiet. Yoshio, keep out of this, you're making it worse. Karen then declared that if Hanao just married him, there wouldn't be a problem. She asked why she hadn't married him yet. Yoshio, trying to save the situation, interjected, but Hanano told him to stay out of it. She explained that marriage wasn't something that could be decided on a whim. Marriage isn't a decision you make over a game night. Karen had a sudden idea and hopped onto Yoshio's lap, saying that if Hanano didn't need him, she would take Yoshio instead. And Hoa, Karen's making a power move. Karen asked Yoshio if he would marry her when she turned 18. Yoshio mulled it over, thinking that a sleepover would be fine once Karen was his bride and Hanano was his mother-in-law. Dream big, Yoshio. But marrying Karen when she's 18? Smart move. Yoshio escaped before the storm hit. Karen was okay with that. So, Hanano reluctantly agreed. She told them to keep the noise down because she had work to do. At 8:40, Karen was about to doze off while playing with Yoshio. He gently reminded her to go to bed and knocked on Hanano's door to let her know Karen was nearly asleep. Hanano led Karen to her bed, but Karen wanted to play a bit longer since she had 20 minutes left. Hanano managed to convince her to lie down, and before drifting off, Karen made Hanano promise to play with them next time. Oh, the pressure. Promises to play and a ticking clock. Back in the living room, Hanano thanked Yoshio for keeping Karen entertained. She noted how much fun Karen had, and added with a hint of jealousy that she wished she could join in. Yoshio's got the kid wrapped around his finger. Meanwhile, Mom's feeling left out. Yoshio took her comment seriously and declared that he loved them both equally. WW, how sweet. But seriously, Yoshio, do you have to get all mushy right now? He then asked seriously what she was thinking about marriage, so he could be there for Karen all the time. Hanano looked at him playfully and asked what she should do. Yoshio was taken aback by her response, but she was just kidding. Yoshio, you're falling for her playful banter?